In the early 1980s, Wendy's was riding high. "Where's the beef" was the catchphrase of the decade. People were lining up to get their square hamburgers, their baked potatoes, and their cups of chili. Today, Wendy's serves breakfast, but breakfast was a dream that Dave Thomas was not able to achieve during his lifetime. Wendy's breakfast took decades of failure, rewrites, and a bizarre all-you-can-eat French toast promotion. This wasn't just a tough egg to crack. This was a full breakfast meltdown. The story starts in 1985 when Wendy's made a bold attempt with a national breakfast rollout. In the years that followed, they tried again and again and again, each time learning from that first big swing.
Good morning. I'll have a ham and cheese omelet.
Make mine French toast. Breakfast sandwich with sausage, tomato, and lettuce.
Where do you guys think you are, Wendy's?
Not just coffee and a biscuit. We're talking about fresh omelets, French toast, and a full hot breakfast cooked to order. Sounded great on paper. It flopped in less than a year. This is the story of Wendy's first ever breakfast run and how it quietly became one of the most expensive flops in the company's history. Let's rewind to the 1980s. Wendy's was the number 3 burger chain in America, just behind McDonald's and Burger King, and growing fast. Wendy's had a great reputation for fresh, never frozen beef and square hamburger patties. But in 1984, they exploded onto the scene with this iconic television commercial.
It certainly is a big bun.
It's a very big bun.
Big fluffy bun.
It's a very big fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a
This
lot
went
of
as viral as you could go in 1984. Wendy's was the hottest thing in fast food. They even had their own board game. So what was their next move? To enter the fast food breakfast war. McDonald's was already crushing it with the Egg McMuffin, and Burger King had launched the croissant a couple years earlier. So in 1985, Wendy's wanted in, but with their own twist. The pitch was bold. You shouldn't have to sacrifice quality for speed in the morning. Instead of going the simple route, Wendy's launched a breakfast menu that was more like a diner than a drive-thru. Made-to-order omelets. Fresh, customized omelets featuring peppers and ham and mushrooms, thick-cut French toast, bacon and sausage sandwiches served on fresh-made biscuits. They had biscuits and gravy in some southern markets. They also had what they were calling home fries. These were not hash browns. These were sort of like those potato rounds that you get at either Bojangles for breakfast or Burger King. And then they started testing in some areas hot cereal and breakfast burritos. Breakfast burritos weren't exactly brand new in 1985, but they were still a bit of a novelty outside of the Southwest. The term breakfast burrito first appeared on the menu at Tia Sophia's restaurant in Santa Fe, New Mexico in 1975. But Wendy's was the first chain to put it on the menu for a national rollout. Wendy's was even advertising that they had high-end coffee and fresh squeezed orange juice. And to hype it up, they gave out Bic shavers.
The Bic shaver for sensitive skin, for many smooth shaves.
Nothing says good morning like a lukewarm breakfast burrito and the threat of bloodshed from using a 3-cent razor you got in the bag. To launch the campaign, Wendy's went big. National ad campaigns, store remodels, and extensive training. They tried everything. They even considered making breakfast chili. Now, they never rolled out breakfast chili nationwide, but if the internet is to be believed, it was launched in test markets throughout the Toledo, Ohio area. Reactions to the breakfast chili ranged from bold and interesting to call the health inspector. Their big commercial launch took place in July of 1985 during Live Aid.
Saturday night, ABC presents the concert event of the century.
Live Aid was a massive dual-venue benefit concert held on July 13, 1985 to raise funds for famine relief in Ethiopia, featuring some of the biggest musical acts of all time and broadcast to over 1 billion viewers worldwide. Wendy's showed up and sang Only You.
Only you. Wendy's French toast is now 99 cents.
There was another commercial where Wendy's pointed out that a lot of the other fast food restaurants were nuking their eggs, but Wendy's was making them fresh to order, and so they were positioning themselves as a higher-end version of fast food breakfast. They had fresh cracked eggs, real buttered toast, and not a clue as to what they were doing. Here's what went wrong, and fast. First problem was speed. Omelets take a long time. Scrambled eggs take time. Real French toast takes time. And the customers weren't willing to wait 10 minutes in the drive-thru line. Wendy's breakfast felt like brunch, but worse. The second problem was labor. Launching a brand new breakfast line meant that they now had to hire new employees to work that early shift and train all of these new employees. And breakfast wasn't profitable yet. Franchisees were asked to fork over extra cash for an unproven mealtime. The third problem was equipment. Wendy's kitchen was designed to handle French fries and hamburgers and baked potatoes and chili, but they weren't designed to handle omelets or buttered toast. And this required new equipment, and it wasn't cheap. And this brings us to problem 4, the cost. Wendy's was sinking millions into this campaign. Training, advertising, and marketing. But a lot of franchisees didn't even want to do it because it didn't seem profitable. And the fifth problem was that no one seemed to know that Wendy's was serving breakfast. Despite paying all this money on marketing, this didn't go over like the Where's the Beef campaign. People didn't know that their Wendy's was serving breakfast. By late 1985, less than a year in, most franchisees were dropping the breakfast menu entirely. And Wendy's didn't make a huge announcement. They just kind of let it fizzle out. Franchisees were given the option to continue serving breakfast if they wanted, but most of them didn't. Some Wendy's locations dragged breakfast into 1986 with the Breakfast for Under a Buck campaign that felt more like a clearance sale. This ad pushed just 3 items: a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich on toasted white bread, a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich on toasted white bread. Both of those were 99 cents. Or if you were a real cheapskate, for 69 cents, you could get egg and cheese on white bread. They also had an infamous all-you-can-eat French toast promotion.
Try our delicious all-you-can-eat French toast, just 99 cents.
In October 1986, founder Dave Thomas gave a pretty honest assessment. "We tried to do too much," he said. "Breakfast is a tough business." And that was it. Wendy's breakfast was completely over and almost forgotten. The 1985 breakfast rollout is often seen as one of the only true flops in Wendy's early years. But it wasn't fatal. Wendy's bounced back and had more growth in their lunch and dinner offerings. They opened more international stores and kept getting bigger and bigger, but they didn't try breakfast again until 2006. This time, Wendy's tested a fresh premium breakfast menu built around fresh cracked eggs. This set it apart from its fast food rivals who used a lot of frozen items. The rollout featured some truly weirdly named items, including the Frescuit, the Biggie breakfast sandwich, and the Fruitea Chillers. These were designed to modernize the brand and kind of pinpoint them towards the more health-conscious diners. But the plan fizzled. The costs were too high, sales weren't high enough, and franchisees were not happy. Soon the 2006 breakfast test ended, and Wendy's was out of the breakfast game again. Until 2010, when Wendy's decided to give it a go one more time. This time they tested a menu in select cities featuring fresh made-to-order items, including the Morning Melt Panini.
At Wendy's, we're breaking out breakfast, opening new worlds.
We're cracking eggs.
This was a grilled sourdough sandwich with eggs and bacon and cheese. The menu also featured their seasoned potatoes and a breakfast Frosty. They called it upscale, which is fast food talk for it's more expensive, but it still comes in a bag.
Here you go.
So be careful.
I was afraid of that.
Wendy's was showing that they were looking to do breakfast different, but nobody was buying it. So Wendy's brought out the big guns, or at least the red pigtails.
Hi, I'm Wendy Thomas. We know a lot of places serve breakfast, but as Dad always said, there's a big difference between just heating up food and actually cooking it.
Wendy Thomas, the real-life daughter of Dave Thomas and namesake of the brand, made her first ever commercial appearance. It was meant to add some heart and heritage to the breakfast program, and maybe distract people from the fact that it just wasn't working. Wendy's did have some interesting items on the menu, including this Sunnyside Burger.
Moo. Wake up to something different. Moo. Wendy's new Sunnyside Burger.
A full beef patty topped with a sunny-side up egg, bacon, and melted Asiago cheese on a toasted roll.
But it wasn't enough, and Wendy's stopped breakfast again.
It wasn't until 2020, 35 years later, that Wendy's finally got breakfast right. Wendy's re-entered the breakfast game in March 2020, just days before the world shut down. On paper, it looked like a disaster, but somehow the timing actually worked in their favor. With a menu built for speed, a heavy investment in mobile ordering, and a focus on drive-thru efficiency, Wendy's was perfectly poised to serve pandemic-era diners. While other fast food chains scaled back or ditched breakfast entirely, Wendy's filled the gap with items like the Breakfast Baconator. 6 strips of bacon, 1 sausage patty, 2 kinds of cheese on a toasted bun filled with regret. It's the kind of food that you eat in your car once and the smell lingers until you get rid of the car. They also launched the Frosty Chino and honey butter chicken biscuits. In a strange twist of fate, the pandemic may have helped make Wendy's breakfast stick. Millions of Americans had their routines disrupted, and Wendy's became a to-go option for late morning meals when people were working from home or skipping the office altogether. By the end of 2020, Wendy's was getting 8% of their overall sales from the breakfast menu. 8% is an impressive stat, especially for a company that had failed so hard at breakfast so many times before. Turns out, if you really want to sell a breakfast burrito, what you need is a global crisis. The first Wendy's breakfast was too ambitious, too early, and way too slow. But it's still fascinating. A forgotten chapter in fast food history. That time that Wendy's decided to serve omelets through a drive-thru. So tell me, did you try Wendy's breakfast in the 1980s, or in 2006, or in 2010? Or have you had it this morning? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you prefer the current square sausage over the days where they went with round sausage, just like everybody else. What were you thinking, Dave? That's the problem with this whole launch. Got to go with the square. The egg should be square. The yolks on the egg should have been square. I want to give a shout out to everybody on Patreon. I've been sending out the postcards to everybody at the $3 level and up. I mail you a postcard every month. And then at the $9 level, you get the newsletter. You get the newsletter. You get some bonus stuff in the envelope. You get my undying love and appreciation. Go over there and sign up. You can sign up for free. Try it out. Check out some of the cool stuff that I post over there. You can be like my dear, dear friends, Aaron Wester, Al Archer, Carson Loveridge, Chris, Dana Snyder, M, Jason Evans, Jason Yealy, Jarrett Rusky, Jamie and Tom, Jen, Matthew Chapin, Mike and Jess, my big brother Rob, and Nick Roche. You can join that list. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Until then, pass the home fries. I'll see you next time.